Welcome back to the weekend preview here for Los Alamitos Racecourse. It is the weekend of Saturday, May 28th and Sunday, May 29th, which is the weekend of the Ed Burke Million Futurity Trials. That's right. Immediately after the kindergarten just a couple of weeks ago, it's now time to look at those trials for that $1 million race. Now joined here by Christopher Wade. Chris, how's your Thursday afternoon going here today?
It's busy as always. Thursday is
Yeah.
my busiest day of the week, getting ready for the weekend. And of course, we have races being piped in this weekend from, I got a total of like 6 or 7 from Remington Park, including a race right, a little bit of a long shot looking there. And he's last year's world champion, Danger, going in the stakes race where he lost all chance in the prior effort at Remington Park there for Dean Fry. I think he's got a big look in that affair. And of course, we have a number of races being piped in from Sam Houston, and then the last 3 from Delta down. So it's a big weekend of racing. My busiest day of the week, Thursdays.
Yeah, Thursdays is our crunch day because we got to put everything in for deadline for the printing for the Nightline programs, where you'll find the selection from Christopher Wade for all the simulcast signals that we're carrying, and also for our Los Alamitos selection for Professor G and myself. But before we talk about the Saturday race here, Los Al, race number 10, and the horse you want to look at, you mentioned the Danger in that big stakes event at Remington. Is the morning line out already for that race? And what kind of price do you think you might get on Danger?
Well, he's 6-1 on the program. He's up against Instigators 9-5, and Jess My Hawks is a horse who won that stakes race there for Michelle Hurdle. That horse is 2-1. Danger is 6-1. Don't forget last year's world championship for Dean Fry. Yeah. This horse was like he was 2-1 in his trial on the ship end, but he leaned back at the start against his flipping halter. It lost multiple lengths, 4 or 5 lengths. But this is a nice size runner, locked and loaded every single step of the way, and he was finishing with a ton of run. This horse just gets away clean. 6-1 is a very, very fair price. If you get 6-1, I'll be happy with that. I think he's got a heck of a chance there for Dean Fry. Second time over the track with a race over the oval and a decent getaway. He's got a big look there in that stakes race at Remington Park. You have a nice 6-1 morning line, I think it is.
We'll be checking out that signal from Remington Park on Saturday night with that very good stakes event. All right, let's talk about here at Los Al Saturday night, 10 races, and we're going to have a little bit of a face-off because I just got the text alert for Mr. Mike Corona, who's waiting in the dugout. He's chomping at the bit, and you both landed on the same race. This has only happened once before, right?
Yeah, it's only happened once.
All right. So let's go for a little bit of a rematch. Race number 10, the final race on Saturday night, 300 yards, a very good competitive allowance. It is a field of 9 runners in this spot. But you went to the inside horse, right? That is More Than Looks.
Yeah, I went to More Than Looks. This horse in the last effort, the Denim and Diamond Handicap, that was a middle-looked effort. This horse, a big price in that affair versus some top-notch competition. And this horse got fractures the gate, broke slow, kind of drifted out, kind of slow on the stride, but was finishing better than Look, under a hold near in the wire. And with everything factored in, the horse earned a pretty good figure for tonight's event. This horse did break from post number 9 in that Denim and Diamonds handicap. Didn't get away all that well after getting fractures inside the gate. And lost over a length and a quarter on my numbers, but was kind of slow into stride, kind of drifted out here early. You can see this horse is kind of well back early against a quality group of runners. But was starting out pretty well near the wire under a light urging, and actually had run left to give there under a hold. Better than shown, was starting to stride out right about there. And look at that gallop out. This horse showed me something right there. With everything factored in on my numbers, the horse earned a pretty good figure for tonight's or Saturday night's event, that allowance event. And don't forget, this horse broke the maiden from the rail very, very impressively. This horse could just mind the manners and run this horse's ability. I think got a big look there at 7-2 from the inside post there on the 10th event.
And, since then, More Than Looks has been away for what, over 2 months, right?
Yeah, 91 days to be exact. And then come back with an 18.5 drill. That gave a better looked effort. Kind of broke a little bit slow, was under a hold, was starting out well. So I gave it that workout a solid B. So with everything factored in, and horse is a big look from the inside post.
All right, that was More Than Looks, Christopher Wade's selection for Saturday night on race number 10, the nightcap there. And you heard him talk about Danger as well. That should be a good showdown at Remington Park. And again, you'll have selections for Remington Park and what other Delta Downs as well, right?
Delta Downs and 3 from Delta Downs and like 6th from Sam Houston. So,
All right. So
busy night.
We got to get to busy. I don't want to take much of your time. We got to get to rolling and get all that content in ready for the printing of the Nightlines. Chris, thanks so much for that analysis. I'll see you this weekend at Los Al.
Racing! Quarter Horse Racing's top juveniles will get together for the biggest night so far this season at Los Alamitos. Trials to the Ed Burke Million Futurity Sunday, May 29th. The 10 fastest advance to the Ed Burke Million Final. Who will be in the top 10? The Ed Burke Million Futurity Trials. Quarter Horse Racing's best. Always at Los Alamitos. For more, go to losalamitos.com. Racing fans, the traditional $2 Pick Six at Los Alamitos is always a great bet. On March 27th, our total Pick Six pool was a meets best $320,000. The total Pick Six pool on May 7th was over $197,000, and on May 22nd, the total pool was over $79,000. Remember, on Sunday nights when there's not a carryover, Los Alamitos adds $10,000 to the Pick Six pool. Talk about some good old-fashioned Pick Six excitement. The traditional $2 Pick Six, a great bet, a great deal. It's always at Los Alamitos.
Now joined by Michael Rona, the voice of Los Alamitos, and Michael, and the hot off the presses, the entries, the overnight just came out for Sunday night. 10 trials for the 2-year-olds there for the Ed Burke Million. A lot of good courses in those 10 trials. Top 10 fastest will advance to the final. Should be a fun weekend of trials.
Oh, for sure, Jose. Looking forward to Sunday night very much. Exclusively Ed Burke Million Futurity Trials. All 10 races Sunday for the juveniles. And they are chasing a very rich pot if they can qualify for the final.
Yeah, and an interesting part about, all trial nights is that, early part of the program, there's still plenty of daylight, right? We've noticed it, the last, I would say maybe the first 4 races are under pretty good daylight conditions. And now, the weather can change, the air can get a little bit denser late into the night. So we'll have to watch out for that. But I think that is interesting there on Sunday night, excuse me.
Good point. Yes, we'll have to monitor the conditions, the wind, and you're right. Some will be run by day, some by night.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. All right. So I previewed when I was talking to Christopher Wade that we have a little bit of a face-off once again. We had it once before. Do you remember what happened in that face-off? Did anybody get the best of each other or no?
No, to the best of my knowledge, neither of us had the winner. I think my horse ran second.
Okay.
But we won't count anything like that. One of us needs to actually get the winner's circle appearance for bragging rights, I think.
Yes.
And to that end, we're going to knock heads again in the final race Saturday night, which is a really interesting allowance for fillies and mares, non-winners of 3 lifetime. They're all 2-time winners, and neither of us has picked the favourite. And I have great respect for being difficult number 6, whose handful of starts have been very impressive. The maiden win at start number 2 was lights out, terrific, and then came back to win again at her 4th start. So definitely hard to beat. But I think number 9, the far outside Run By Your Cartel, is a reasonable alternative at better odds.
Run By Your Cartel draws the outside post, and she hasn't had the outside post too many times, but I do notice that one of her key wins was from the outside post, right?
Yes, it's a nice coincidence that Chris's selection, number 1, More Than Looks, has a victory from the rail, and my pick from the outside gate, Run By Your Cartel, boasts a victory from the outside draw. This filly actually won her first 2 starts, and I think it's some nice symmetry given the trials we're looking forward to this Sunday, that the replay we're going to show you is start number 2, win number 2 for Run By Your Cartel in a trial to last year's Ed Burke Million Futurity. So she went 2 for 2 in winning here from the outside gate as the favourite.
Yeah, and you can tell, having experience from the outside post is key, and especially when you win. We kind of saw that with valiantly in this year's kindergarten. But Run By a Cartel, like you mentioned, up to this point, she was beginning her career 2 for 2.
Exactly, and she did everything right in this performance down the outside to beat a handy performer in Doc's fast lane, and then finished midfield, 6th of 10. in the rich final, the $1 million final. Now, it's gone a bit pear-shaped since then, and Run by Your Cartel is still chasing what's starting to prove an elusive third career win. And the biggest problem I see with this filly is that she's been expending too much energy before the gate pops open. She's been quite belligerent at times in the gate. She's been rowdy, she's been antsy, and it cannot have been helping her cause. It worries me a little that they tried the flipping halter first time last start, and she still acted up, and then she stumbled right after the start. She was eliminated at the beginning of the La Pacifica Stakes, put a pen through that performance. So I am legitimately worried by her manners, but I have no doubt she has the ability to match strides with this company. I like the outside post. A couple of her recent performances have been good despite acting up. She was beaten a nose in good time in a 110-yard race. She had a third place finish after that in a decent time in an allowance against a couple of good horses. So she's going okay. She just needs to relax.
The race that I remember a little bit more fresh in my mind from this season, actually, it was December 26th, where she broke on top in that handicap. I forget the name of that handicap, but she led, pretty handily. Not pretty handily, but she led a pretty good field there, and then ended up missing only by a neck. So that's the gate speed that she's probably going to need to show here tonight and to take advantage of the outside post.
Yes. So, she's 5-1 on Ed Burgart's morning line. She's the third choice. Ed has pegged Being Difficult number 6 at 2-1, and Chris's selection from the rail, More Than Looks, at 7-2. So I think the odds are okay, given the draw, but I will admit that you'll be holding your breath as she goes into the gate, awaiting the start.
And so that's Michael's selection, Run by Your Cartel on the outside. Chris goes with More Than Looks, and I'm going to drop a little bit of an extra wrench to this race because I do a nightly quote-unquote best bet and long shot of the night, right? I do it in Spanish for our Spanish-speaking audience in the program. Well, my prize of the night is in this race as well. And it is the 8 horse, the Streaking Dream. And
yes, this newcomer to California.
Yeah, and I believe the morning line is somewhere in the 6 to 8-1 range. Do you have the morning line?
Let me just have a quick look here, mate. 8-1.
8-1.
First start, Jose Flores, first start since last fall out of state.
So that's a little bit of a price that I like as well. 12:30 workout I thought was pretty decent there, but the rankings on my race when my selection the night lines went 9-6-8. That was before the morning line came out, and once the morning line came out, I kind of upgraded the 8 because of that price. But there's a very competitive allowance. I'm looking forward to it, and I think this is going to be a pretty good race to end the program on Saturday night. So 10 races on Saturday, 10 races on Sunday. Sundays all trials, 10 trials, and the fastest 10 times of the night will advance to the final. Okay, Michael, I like that. I like Run by Your Cartel. I like that replay from last season. It kind of ties in very well with what we have in store this weekend.
Yes, hoping for some nice symmetry for this filly. This just might be the time of the year that she excels. We shall find out.
All right. Thanks so much for that selection. I'll see you this weekend. Hello, Sal.
Hooroo.
Welcome back. Thank you to Michael Rona and Christopher Wade for that those selections, that analysis there for Saturday night, focusing on the 10th race on Saturday. The entries just came out, fresh, hot off the presses here for Sunday night's card at Los Alamitos, which is 10 races. All 10 are trials for the prestigious Grade 1 Ed Burke Million Futurity. Top 10 fastest top 10 fastest times of the night will advance to that very rich and prestigious final. The final is to be held on June 19th, which is Father's Day. So just in a few weeks, we'll have the final of the Ed Burke Million Futurity. Professor G is on assignment. He won't be joining us on this program, but he did do a lot of the plenty work behind the scenes. He got us some very good interviews with connections that are going to be plenty busy on this Sunday night for these Ed Burke Million trials. Take a look at these past performances for Sunday night. 10 races, all trials for the Ed Burke. And I believe every single race here has a minimum of 8 horses on Sunday night. You can see first entry has 3 maiden winners, which is J. La Sultana, Juan for Jaime Gomez, Val and Levy, Paul Jones, and Monte Rosa with Ain't Tempting. Those 3 runners owned maiden diplomas. The other runners are still looking to get that diploma here. But key thing is that most of these runners are going to be stretching out to 350 yards for the first time. We do see a runner like Challenger for Mr. Bobby Cox and Heath Taylor coming in from Millington Park, which already has experience at 350. But for the most part, most of these runners are going to be stretching out. So maybe that's something you want to look for here, as these horses are how they're running going to 20 or 300. See how they're galloping out in some of these replays, and see how they're finishing to see if they're going to really take to that 100, that extra yardage there, going 350 yards. But Professor G did catch up with some of these connections, some of these barns that are going to be plenty busy for this Sunday night. And let's talk about race number 3, because in this third event, there was a very nice, impressive maiden winner here by the name of Price Fixer for the barn of Adan Farias. This one owned by David Hankins, was purchased out of the Los Alamitos Equine Sale for $85,000 back in 2021. Bred by Dr. Ed Allred, and this horse looked very professional here, winning first time out by about a length and a half. Let's take a look at the start by Price Fixer on April 16th. Adan Farias, Rodrigo Aceves teaming up. He was the number 3 horse this night on April 16th. He's going to break a little bit outwards here, but gets out well, and he really levels out nicely midway. Rodrigo goes to the right hand for just one time to kind of get him to respond. He responds, and it was a cruising victory the rest of the way for Price Fixer. So this is going to be one of the hopefuls for the barn of Adan Farias, who I believe has 8 runners in these trials, but it looks like Price Fixer is one of his top ones, without a doubt, alongside maybe a runner like Nomad 2, and a few other runners that he's got in this night. But there's Price Fixer. Let's catch up with Adan Farias talking to Professor G.
Coming up here on Sunday night, the Ed Burke Million trials, and one of the horses that we'll be keeping a close eye on because of the talent, the way that this horse moved first time out, won. David Hankins, Price Fixer. We're here with trainer Adan Farias, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this talented runner, especially the way that you saw him win first out.
Well, he looked pretty impressive. We always thought, ever since I gave him the first race, I was like, wow, I think he has some talent. And sure enough, when we ran him, he ran a big race. We're really happy, content with him, and I'm just blessed having this horse right now.
How has he been doing in between his first out and now coming into the trials?
He's been doing really good. He's actually a very healthy horse. We haven't had no issues with him. He hasn't even, knock on wood, got sick on us. He's been staying sound, been working good. I gave him a little breeze going 350 3 weeks ago just to get him sharp and get him with a little bit more condition, and he was cruising down the racetrack.
How well you've been seeing him doing the gate when he's been in the gate?
I haven't done much in the gates, just stand him, school him a little bit. He's just a good horse all around, so I don't think we need much work in the gates.
Best of luck. I know Mr. Hankins and yourself got together one year and won the Ed Burke Million. Going back to maybe 15 years ago, right?
Right, that would be awesome if we could do it again.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Let's move along to race number 4, the 4th division, the 4th trial of the evening. all trials at 350 yards. We got Twiggy's favorite on the rail, Mamba Cartel for Adan Farias, one of his other good entrants who finished with a good run there under Eddie Garcia. She narrowly missed by a head. She's from the family of Tarzanito. But the running line that jumps off the page is Moonlight Blaze. Moonlight Blaze there, good, clean, alert start. 15:53 was the winning time for Moonlight Blaze. She dominated that field by a length and a half as the betting favorite, but she was over even money. Hot connections of Lindolfo, Diaz, and Jesus Ayala, who have been on a very good roll with their 2-year-olds. And this one is by a homebred by Legacy Ranch out of that good mare, LR Miss Atina. Moonlight Blaze dominated that field. Here's Moonlight Blaze, gate number 5 here. And she took plenty of support. She was the betting favorite this night. First time out, it was first race. She had previously worked in 12:20 on April 16th, but she did everything right here. She got away well, was quick into stride. Ayala asked her a few times here, and she responds by pulling away with good, quick strides here. And she ends up posting a very good time of 15:53. So very professional debut win for Moonlight Blaze. She kind of touted herself in that 12:20 workout, and she delivered a very nice performance. So this is going to be for the barn on Lindolfo Diaz. He's got plenty of entrants, I believe half a dozen in these trials. Here's Professor G talking to Lindolfo.
Lindolfo, in big night of trials coming up, the Ed Burke trials. You have some nice runners being pointed. We're here right next to Quirky Biddy Jess, a winner already here at Los Alamitos. Tell me about this very, very talented runner.
Well, this filly, we bought her privately in December. We bought her late actually, and we bought her from a friend of ours that we have up there in Mexico, and we paid her in late to the Ed Burke. We really liked her when we bought her. She's an apolitical Jess filly. She's out of a full sister to Quirky. So the mama could run a little bit, and so we went to go look at her, and we liked her, and we decided we ended up buying her, and we paid her up late for the Ed Burke, and she won her first asking. She's a filly that's really done everything right, never giving me any issues. Super smart out of there, really quick, fast, early. That's probably her strength, getting out of there quick, out of the gate. She's not the biggest filly. She's built like a little tank, but she's not the biggest filly, but she's got a lot of heart. So she looks like she's a good little filly. Hopefully we get some luck with her in the trials.
Another impressive first-time winner, Moonlight Blaze.
Yes, that's one that I have for Legacy Ranch. She looked very, very good first out. She worked twice with this one actually, both works, and they went heads up both works. And but the other one, she put it all together in her first start, and Moonlight looked really, really impressive. Really, really impressive her first out. So
yeah.
Hopefully we get lucky with her too.
Who else should we keep an eye on from the Lindolfo Diaz barn?
I got another one from my dad, El Aventurero. He's a good little horse. He won his first asking, had a little bit of trouble, lugged in at the start and kept going a little bit, was looking around, kind of ran the last 1,500 yards. So he's a good horse to look at. And I have another one, Corona Cartels. He runs second his first asking. He ran second and won a good horse, Amani's. So he was still a little green, but he looked good. And I have Mad Boy, who won his first asking, but he's had trouble with them, and we're going to do some switches on him, and maybe they work out for the good for him.
And the best thing that you have to say is you're talking about horses that are winning first asking, so that has to put a big smile on your face. There it is.
Yes, yeah. I mean, they did everything right the first time, so hopefully they come back and they run good in the trials.
Best of luck this big Sunday.
Thank you.
Let's take a look at one more trial. It is going to be the last trial of the evening, race number 10 here on Sunday night. It begins there with the rail horse Nomad 2 for the barn of Adan Farias out of the very good race mare Moonlight Corona. Good family there for Nomad 2, who finished second. But the horse we're going to focus on is Stella Girl 47. This one is a full sibling to that runner Coleman 47, who we saw race here at Los Alamitos a few years back and was a very good racehorse. And now Paul Jones has Stella Girl 47 in the 10th and final trial of the evening here on Sunday night. She ended up winning her debut in a hard-fought victory, but she looked good doing it, and she looked very professional there. And everything that she did should translate well to an extra yardage here going to 350. Here's Stella Girl. She was the number 4 horse this night, nearly at 5-1 here for Paul Jones on this evening. This one is by Stel Corona out of that mare GM Silver Dreams. She got to a good clean beginning, maybe a little bit of a brush there, but nothing significant. Rider asked a few times. She keeps the task and she fights off here the two challenges along the inside in a very game effort. The run along the inside is BF Emily's Outrage, which is for the same barn here of Paul Jones. But you can see there, Stella Girl 47 doing everything right to get that hard fought victory. And a start like that could translate to a big night for the barn of Paul Jones. The barn of Paul Jones will be busy on Sunday night with an entry in each and every one of these 10 trials. Let's catch up here with Paul Jones talking with Professor G.
And we're here with trainer Paul Jones on the eve of the trials to the Ed Burke Million Futurity. And Paul, you're going to have a nice group of runners going in. Let's start with a couple of the maiden winners, horses that have already crossed the wire first. One of them, Valiant Livy. Nice runner. Let's start with Valiant Livy and then move on to Stella Girl 47. And when I remember the name 47, I remember Coleman 47 as well. This is from a similar family. Let's start with Valiant Livy.
Well, Valiant Livy is a really nice Valiant Hero filly, and she really ran a nice race in her last race. I was real proud of her. She kind of got hooked up with another horse, and then she outfinished the other horse at the end. So really, it was a valiant effort. We're really looking forward to her coming into this race. And Stella Girl 47 is the full sister to Coleman 47. She won her first out. It's been a little while since she's run, but she's had to work in between, and she's coming into this race really well.
Henry D, Hayshaker, two horses that have performed pretty sharply. A lot of talent on these runs.
You know, although Henry D and Hayshaker haven't broke their maiden yet, they're two horses that I've always really liked. They both have a lot of talent. Henry D has just had a little bit of bad luck, but he's run a third and a second, and Hayshaker ran a second last time. They're both, once they kind of get things together and kind of focus and run their race, I think they're both going to be really nice horses.
And you have a couple of runners with the initials BF. Burrow Farms in front of them, and out of a nice mare, BF Outrageous, and siblings to BF Outfoos, who we've seen in a lot of stakes races here at Los Alamitos. Tell me about these two BF horses.
Yeah, we've got BF Emily's Outrageous and BF Liz Outrageous. They're both full sisters, and they're both sisters to BF Outfoos. Both of these fillies, I think they were like 13th and 14th qualifying to the kindergarten. They've both been real honest. They've both had two races. They've ran really well. They've been right there in the money. And, they're getting a little better as time goes on. So hopefully with a little experience under their belt, they can be a little closer in the Ed Burke.
One of the horses that really caught my eye in morning workouts, Somewhere Out West. Is this horse also being pointed to the Ed Burke?
Yeah, she is. Somewhere Out West is kind of, her first race, she slipped a little bit from the gate. She's had a little bit of trouble. The filly's probably got a little more talent than what we've seen out of her so far. Hopefully we can get her turned around and get a good race out of her.
It's always fun to catch up with you, Paul. It's almost always great to visit the barn. Today we get to visit the office. Beautiful office here at Los Alamitos Racecourse in the stable of Paul Jones.
Thank you very much, Orlando.
Thank you to Professor G for getting us those interviews with those connections there for the Sunday night trials for the Ed Burke. Best of luck to all the connections that have entrance in these year's trials. Looking forward to those trials on Sunday night. We'll be bringing you live coverage of each and every single one of these trials on TVG on the quarters. I'll be on set this weekend, and plenty of good racing to cover from Los Alamitos. 10 races on Saturday, 10 races on Sunday. And the finals of the final of the Ed Burke Million Futurity is scheduled for June 19th, which is Father's Day. So 10 trials, top 10 times of the night advance to that rich final. Thanks so much for tuning into this weekend preview. We'll see you out there this weekend at Los Alamitos.